Hello, this is Nils Will. I wanted to thank Mr. Gabrandi and Miss Jean Lambert, the Green MEP, but some of the points I was making on that show, what they was on with on France 24 with Inge Inge Grassel, who didn't make any points what I can remember. Um, Basically, look, I know the industry's saying that they aren't going to be able to make the real time testing. They're not going to be able to um, keep below the limits of the lawful limits that you've set. And I think Ms. Grassel was sort of hinting at that, or she said something along those lines. And that's why I sent you the tweet about the fuel saving emissions reduction technology database, FSAERT. Rather than the industry trying to water down the testing or the limits again, the simplest way to force them or make them, or you know, to get the limits, to achieve the limits, is to try and implement this system where a collection of market products which you can buy off a shelf around the world, which pertain to be fuel saving and reduce emissions, where they would have to, you compile a database, and the manufacturers, if they're going to test in real-time conditions, then they should try each of these devices. If they, if you've got an independent adjudicator or someone else there who can see that any of these devices is actually providing results. It's dropping the fuel. It's increasing the miles per gallon or reducing the emissions. Right? It does what it says on the tin. I must say these products, what I've seen over the last 7 or so years, they have been tested on the road, and they perform on the road. They haven't performed as well in the lab. It's something to do with the earthing of the vehicle, right? So if they have to test one, two, or any combination of these, the adjudicator would ensure that they would have to then either purchase or come into a contract or make the manufacturers fit this technology, right? Because as it stands at the moment, people are reading the sales brochures and looking at the adverts, and they are, the whole kit and caboodle, the fraud, what the manufacturers have done, and very misleading testing regime, right? So people have either become very comfortably numb, if you like, to quote Pink Floyd, that they're sort of unwilling to even try anything, or they've read some bad press, or they're scared to invalidate their warranty on their vehicles. If you think about it, so the consumers aren't trying this stuff because of the manufacturers, right? The manufacturers ain't fitting this stuff because of whatever reason, another industry perhaps, or for financial reasons, or for governmental reasons, I have no idea. So it's like a stalemate. The cars are dirty and not as efficient. They're now going to go into real-time testing, and they're not going to be able. They're going to try and water down the limits, the lawful limits, what you've set. So if you compile the database of some of these products, and they had to test them and fit them, either buy companies out or include them on their vehicles, right? For one thing, there's an economy there for some of the small companies, these small businesses. There's certain structures what I could say they really get on my nerves, and my vehicle is a Euro 2 diesel van, and I would imagine under real-time conditions, I don't know whether I would be about Euro 4 with the stuff I have and the second-hand particulate filter I have, which the aftermarket products, the HHO and the water doping, reduces the carbon. And one enterprising man in America, what I know, what I've met, not met, but online, he actually cleans engines with this oxyhydrogen gas. He offers a service what cleans the engines, and it has a similar effect on the particulate filters. It stops them clogging up as much. So it could only be a good thing. The filters are there, they're legally binding, they have to be there, and if they're clogging up and people are taking them off, then it makes a lot of sense. And I've heard you both talk, Mr. Cabral and Ms. Lambert, I've heard you both talk a lot of sense, and I thought I'd share some of my thinking with you. I don't see any other way how they're really going to hit them targets. They've had their own way for such a long time, and a lot of people I've heard are trying to sort of make excuses for the industry, and it's almost like a surgeon sewing up a wound which is still filthy. He wouldn't do it. There's people trying to just stitch it up, stitch this whole debacle up, and leave all the rot in there. We've got to bang a drum and really, you've got to crack a few skulls. I think that's the expression. Or break a few eggs. That's probably the expression. There's plenty. If you want to get in touch on Twitter, I could help you contact several people across the planet. There's a couple in England. I'm sure there's some in Europe. Some in France. There's people all over the planet who are making these aftermarket products, and if a small study was done to test, to weed out the worst, right, of the aftermarket products, weed out the ones what you wouldn't want. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud. You know, so pretty much you get a rough idea that this product is going to reduce so much, this one's going to reduce so much, this one's going to reduce so much, and it might work differently on different vehicles, so it'd be worth them testing maybe 5, 6 or 7 devices, right, which is part of the testing, be part of the testing regime. You know, if it's going to cut emissions 10%, you know, or improve miles per gallon by 10 miles per gallon, it's got to be done. It really has. They've got to do something. You know, if you want to verify anything this independently, contact me here or on Twitter. I'd like to speak to you. You've got a lot of good to say. And Mr. Cabral, I enjoyed your story about your boy's birthday party. That really made me laugh. Yeah. The kids know exactly how to do things. You know, they should be running things. They got a better handle on it than a lot of the whole organisation of suits. Don't they've got too many voices to listen to, I think. You know, the kids get it right every time. Anyhow, please get in touch with me. Thanks for watching or listening. If there's any way I can help you, please let me know. Just want to thank you. Cheers.